You couldn't hear me. I'm going to redo that. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Board Game Hype Connect episode. Today we have a very special guest by the name of Seppy.
Hey, I'm here.
Welcome to the show, my friend. I'm excited to have you on here.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be anywhere, actually. Time space has been very confusing the last 10 days.
Yeah, I understand. I totally feel that. Space is a hard thing to travel through, on all these conquests, we're going through the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that every moment of every day, everywhere, all at once.
That is a movie that is crazy. I'll tell you that much already.
That movie is great. And it is a great way for people who are wondering if this theme is for them. If you like that movie, the chances are you're going to love Conquest Princess.
Little all over the place, huh?
It is an amalgamation. Like, if you are like a hardcore fan of One Piece, you'll realize how many like elements from all these crazy places come from. That kind of blender of references and Easter eggs. If that's for you, then I'm your designer.
I personally love One Piece, so I mean that relates to me really well.
Yeah, like the bad guys from one season were Steven Tyler and Tyler Durden.
Right?
Right?
Can't get better than that.
It doesn't get better than that.
Brandon, welcome to the chat. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, throw it in there and I will get to it. But before we go on, we're going to go ahead and play the video for Conquest Princess. It's currently live on GameFound. So get excited, sit back, eat some popcorn and Cheetos. Just don't play board games while you're doing that. Here we go. This is Conquest Princess.
A galaxy in peril. The fashion tyrant Mugaga steps up her invasion. The temporal intergalactic armed response agency, or T.I.A.R.A, is our brave new hope. Warriors dressed for battle face off against the worst classic space problems. Invaders from space, giant mecha monsters, and the dreaded Mugaga herself. Conquest Princess, Fashion is Power is a cooperative 1-to-4 player bag builder board game. A single bag of destiny determines your fate. Manipulate probability to complete your mission. Move.
Getting in position.
Shoot.
When in doubt, blast it out.
Or engage with your problems.
Location is everything.
Use the might of fashion and friendship to save the timeline.
Let's do this together.
The theme might seem like speed, but the difficulty is dark matter.
Fashion is power.
Okay, now that was fun.
Was it? Oh, I get so nervous when people play the video. I love it so much, but I understand that I am a complete One Piece weirdo. Like, I want...
That's super fun. I mean, I personally like the theme because it's, out there, and I'm very much that kind of person. Like, I just love all the things that are wacky, and so I'm really excited to dive into this. But, so now that we have the Conquest Princess, tell everyone on here who you are and how you got into game design in the first place and where you're from.
Let's see. I'm Seppy, Chief Game Designer for Fight in a Box Games. I've been doing this full time for 10 years. I live in the Twin Cities now, but I'm originally from Detroit. I got into game designing very early. I've been designing games since the 80s. Maybe there's one in the 70s. I would have been really young for that one. But 80s. Yeah, I've been designing games since the 80s.
That's exciting. Yeah, I was not designing games in the 80s. Did you have what was like your first game you ever designed?
This is a weird thing about designers of a certain age. At one point in time, if you played like tabletop games and wanted to do one game better, you took a stab at redoing Car Wars because the game did so much right, but it was impenetrably long time to play. And so you did any number of things to try to capture a quicker Car Wars experience. And that was probably the first one that I attempted on my Atari 1400.
Oh gosh. Throwback. So you started designing almost like an expansion in a way, like almost a standalone of your own from a previous game.
No, like game design and, early Dungeons and Dragons taught you that real game design was about charts.
Mm.
It was
Sounds
about
great.
charts. It was about charts and building things, and we're gonna build things with charts.
That doesn't sound very fun.
No, it's not. It was not fun. Like later on, we become more enlightened. Like board game and game design has improved a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved my time in that, but everything has sort of moved on from that era of things. Like, like, have you ever touched a slide rule, Devin?
No.
Exactly. How about an abacus?
Okay, I have that. I have
Okay.
them.
All right, there you go. Then, yeah, absolutely.
I'm an old man. Come on, what can I say?
Yeah, you touch an abacus. That's definitely a thing.
Well, so has this always been like, so publishing board games and stuff, has this always been like a dream of yours? Have you always wanted to do this from the start, or did you ever have like any other dreams, careers?
I had a lot of careers. I was in naval nuclear power. I went to school for creative writing in English. I published a local small LGBTQ youth magazine. I got struck up into .com, and then I ended up being VP of marketing for software development companies.
Wow, that's a big deal.
So I've done a lot of things, Devin. Yeah. I've done a lot of things. But no place has made me feel more fulfilled or loved or in the right place than the board game industry.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. So like, what kind of things did you take from your previous positions and like to carry over into board games? Like, how does that carry over?
Well, there's a lot for publishing. There's a lot of printing, and you might not know this, but printing moved to China after the presses that were in the United States after the bubble bursting moved to China. Like, these are multi-million-dollar things, right? And in 2003, everybody was moving to digital presses, and so the presses that they were using, these offset and traditional presses, ended up moving to China, which ended up setting us up for after 2008 and after crowdfunding became a thing, set us up for an entire print industry in China. And so I could probably, like, there's a good chance that I ran jobs in multiple places on the same press and as it traveled across the United States. Yeah, so that's one. Like, being able to run production, project management obviously is a big deal. At one point in time, I had 27 direct reports. Every board game is somehow attached to a nuclear toilet. So my degree in nuclear plumbing is really very useful.
You heard it here. Nuclear plumbing is very useful.
Like, it's me, Mario. Like, seriously, that's where those giant mushrooms come from.
That's awesome. Let's dive in a little bit about community. We both are huge advocates for community, and that's like my favorite thing to do, right? And so I'm always very curious about how different publishers and different designers go at that community aspect for their games. So like, starting out, like, what has been like your main source of inspiration from the community for this project? Like, what have you taken from things you've seen in the community, and how have they like helped you bring this game to life?
Number one, my favorite local game store got me in touch with my first writing partner, because I've been on this project for 6.5 years. So that's how the community participated in that way. Then that first version we play tested locally, and then we ended up taking to conventions for convention testing, and the community sounded in there. It failed that, and then the community helped buy me drinks while I cried after 2 years of work. And then I started over, and I dragged them along with. Eventually, the Protospiel community would introduce me to the Yang brothers, who helped with our previous title, Mouse, Cheese, Cat, Cucumber. And they helped me get this version launch ready. And they've been an incredible help. So I use the community for testing, emotional support, recruiting, and professional help.
Yeah, I know Peter. I don't know. Is this his brother then?
Patrick, yeah.
Patrick. Okay, I don't know Patrick, but I know Peter very well. Great guy, super smart, and yeah, Protospiel for me too. Like when I met you at Protospiel Minnesota, that was the first Protospiel I've ever been to, and so like it opened my eyes to like all the things, and because of that Protospiel, like I brought my game in. It was called Meet the Grumbles at the time. Brought my game in, and after Protospiel, completely redid like a whole bunch of mechanisms, mainly because of Peter and a few others. And because of that one switch, I got a publication deal like in like a week after that, because it just made it so much better. And so like Protospiel has been a huge help, you know, just in general. And I know for a lot of designers, if they're not going to Protospiels, like they need to do that, because it's like the playtesting alone and then like knowing the community members and like being able to go out there and have your face attached to something is like a big deal. So, yeah.
No, it's a huge deal, especially locally. Like locally, we've had anybody from Hasbro to Z-Man to Asmodee to FFG to Leader to Chip Theory to Adam's Apple.
The big names.
Like, like Adam is now like hitting it with the the Spiel de Quinta or whatever it is, the Spiel, like the collector's award. Like, I'm very excited for him, and that is a Protospiel alum. He worked on that game for 6 years. Like, it was a big deal. He really wanted to make that game work, and when he finally did, obviously not alone, but fantastic. That game is absolutely. But for folks who are interested in game design, it is really about talking to your peers about games. And a Protospiel also brings in, at least Minnesota's does, a fresh set of eyes of people who are just interested in play testing prototypes.
Yeah.
And 1 year in particular, like we had an overwhelmingly large support from the Twin Cities gaming community, and they just shuffled in and played all the things. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I remember like one of the main guys that helped me playtest and came up with this this trash mechanism, whatever, was just a computer programmer. Like he was just there to help playtest games because he just liked the development stuff. And I'm not a developer. Like I'm getting better at it, but like I am better at the game design. And so he came in with not even like a game design experience, but he was just like had such a different mindset that it just helped us bring the game out, you know, like, and it was really cool to put a different community member's spin on something, because we're so like focused in, you know, like this is what we do and we need some outsider help, you know, to help make sure things go forward.
Jeff Tidbull has a great blog on what conventions do. People should read it. And the idea that going to Protospiel gives you this space where you're allowed to push everything else aside and just focus on your prototypes or be in a headspace for thinking about games is a real like boost to your productivity for getting any kind of project done. Like this is sanctified space for getting this done. And so it is sort of cemented into the Fight in a Box calendar that way.
Yeah.
We work everything based on doing a final approval or final flight check for game projects at that Protospiel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I went to Atlanta as well, and that was
I'm jealous. I want to go.
And that was a long drive. It was.
Oh my God, you drove to Atlanta?
That's why I really don't go to a lot of conventions, because I have to drive everywhere. Like I can't afford to fly. I can't even afford to drive half the time. So it's like I don't go to very many of them. But no, that was an amazing experience, and I met all sorts of amazing people. And
did you meet Mondo?
Yep, I finally met Mondo. I met Z. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. I always mess it up, so I always say Z.
Yeah,
is it Zeph? Zeb? Zeb? One of those three. I met him, and yeah, I pitched my games for the first time ever. I've never pitched before, so I learned a ton from it, and I'll definitely be going again next year. But Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about me though. We're gonna circle back to you.
Why not, Devin? You're way more interesting than me and my crazy game about
Well,
space
let's
magic.
not talk about you then either. Let's segue into my next question, which is you already talked about the Yang brothers helping you out. Who else helped you out along with the process? Maybe in like art or marketing or just like design, anything like that.
The other full-timer for Fight in a Box is my creative director, Mark Eberhardt. And he is the graphic designer and artist for the main box of the game. This poster is from our intern, and our comic series about dating the space agents is from my intern. And the comic book is from local Graham Judd. So,
Nice.
so yeah, we have a funny comic, we have a comic book, we have a full cast version of that comic book. And then there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, geez, you got a comic book and everything for this.
It does. The prequel comic book, Princess Zero, because Conquest Princess is not named about the agents. It is about the giant robot, the Conquest Princess, the most powerful weapon for justice in the galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the One Piece. Have you seen the One Piece? No, you have not seen the One Piece, but the One Piece is where all this story goes about. And yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, so I know we had talked about the relationships, how you're building outside of the community. Like I know I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, and I want to talk about the Minnesota tabletop scene because I feel very strongly about that. I wish we had something here in the Cedar Falls, Iowa, area. But like every time I'm up there, I'm just like, there's so many gamers, there's so much game design talk, and talk with Peter, and I'm just like, man, I want to be in Minneapolis and Minnesota, and so
you can go to Des Moines too. Like Des Moines and Ames have a scene. You could do that.
I could, but I like Minnesota.
I do. I wasn't gonna poo-poo Iowa. There's enough bad blood between the two of them already. No, the Twin Cities is an amazing place to grow up in gaming. And one of the reasons that is Atlas's fingerprints on it and its development of gaming talent for decades now. So Jeff Tidball and Patrick Leader were both interns at Atlas Games in the 90s. Okay. Christian Peterson from FFG, they used to house together, and he was a tenant of Atlas Games and warehouse together. So this collective of ideas, ends up being these people who then start their own thing, and then they foster more talent. And then once you get something large, it becomes even more established, and there's more people and more. Now we're having multiple generations of people in gaming helping the next set along.
Yeah.
And
I know there's a lot of how many big companies are up there now?
Obviously Asmodee / Z-Man is up here. They're the largest.
Okay.
And then of course Leader Games, Chip Theory are super, super big.
Yeah.
Chip Theory has like over 30 employees now. We talked about Adam's Apple. It's pretty big. And then Left Justified, which is Jeff Tidball's studio. Then there's me, and then there's a whole host of independents that are here in the cities as well. And so people who have titles or design or
Yeah, I know. I used to want to move to Minneapolis. Was kind of like before I met my wife and everything here, and I was gung ho on Minneapolis. Like that was where I was gonna go.
Yes.
And it's just really unfortunate because the community here, I'm the one that's bringing tabletop is my event that I'm bringing to find other gamers around here because there's no one around here, and I want game design to be a thing around here as well. And so I'm kind of starting my own little thing here.
Yeah. And 20 years from now, people are going to talk about you, Devin. Devin brought game design to see, but we see other people bringing the industry to their place, right? So we see Stagmeyer bringing it to St. Louis. We see All Play bringing it to Kansas City. But there's a lot of people already up in the Pacific Northwest, and there are people up in New England as well. But Minnesota is weirdly tied into so many big game companies. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really exciting. And so like let's segue over to Conquest Princess. You know, we talked a lot
Yay!
about the community and a lot about you, and so this will kind of be a good segue question. Like when you found, I'm always curious about your content creators for the campaign. Maybe if there's the videos created, blogs, podcasts, anything like that. What have you been doing with the campaign prior to this? Like, have you been on podcasts? Who
Yep.
have you used for video reviewers, etc.?
Yeah, that like one thing that you should do if you're starting out as publishing or a designer, get relationships with people who are small and up and coming. One of the things I did, like starting to do like 6-7 years ago, was that they walked up to me and they had a press pass. I just gave them games. I didn't ask them for the qualifications. I'm like, all you have to do is email me your content in and around the game, and then there you go. And what ends up happening is people grow up, like they work on their channels, they work on their stuff, and as they grow and you grow, you end up getting to celebrate in their success.
Yeah, I am a huge believer in going to smaller creators, and just because like in a world where we're so overwhelmed by all of this content, you know, and like you really need to find creators that have that passion, you know, and have that passion for your product, because you might like a creator, but they might not have the same, you know, review structure, like the same kind of passion for the game that you do. And so you really have to like find the right fit. And it's hard. Like it's not easy.
I've been talking about this a lot lately. Like the board games is a hard category for retailers to stock because the amount of individual knowledge you need for the title, like compared to like a Warhammer or a Dungeons and Dragons or Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, which are seasonal. They keep on refreshing themselves, and you can have one expert, whatever it is. All those three huge industries are telling you what's coming up next, and those are 3 channels. Yeah. But simultaneously, those SKUs in there aside, there's 4,500 other SKUs in tabletop added every year. And my board game, hopefully, will be one of them if people help out. And that requires a lot from staff to know when that is. And there's a board game season, all right? Yeah. And a board game season, obviously, the reindeer run anywhere around the holidays, there's an explosion of that. And where do people go and get those games is a very big question. And so trying to help retailers figure out what they want to have in their store, things don't sell themselves typically. And if they do, they sell out so quickly, the people at the store are still selling something else. So
it's hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, right. And so the you know, and things that are getting a lot of media hype, it's all snowballs, right? But the real barrier for small developers and publishers is the media barrier now. Mm-hmm. The crowdfunding platforms don't inherently help you get your project funded. That you have to bring your community, and you have to bring other people to expand your community to make a project succeed, right? Especially if it's different from other things in your line. There's a reason that Simon zombicided out so many times, right? It's a known product, right? Yeah, it's a known product, known business model. We're going to do it. We're going to do it again. If you deviate from your other games, like I have every time, you've got to resell your own audience and build a new audience in and around your title. These are all cautionary tales, Devin, about things not to do.
We'll have the advice section later. You know, I'm sure you have plenty of it. But yeah, so right now I want to talk about your target audience for this specific game then. Because like you just mentioned, every game is different. So can you describe like who your audience is and what kind of player would enjoy this type of game?
I mean, this game is a real everybody game. like too many games are for game people like only, and this is not a casual title. It's a serious title with a very open theme. I guess it's for gamers who are interested in a new title in an open theme that is more inclusive of other folks. Simultaneously, critically, Conquest Princess has gotten a lot of great critical reviews, like Alex Radcliffe, Don from Secret Cabal, Mark from
Danny. I did a TikTok as well.
Yeah, but I would like people who don't normally see themes that excite them to get excited about this theme, right?
Yeah.
Like if you really loved Sailor Moon plus Star Trek, this is for you. Right? Sailor Moon plus Star Trek, this is for you. If you wanted a game that was difficult and the theme was wild, this is for you.
So what has been like your favorite thing about designing this game then? Is that kind of it? Like the fact that you could just, everyone feels like they belong and like there's this whole idea of, openness and be yourself? Or is there like more fine-tuned things? You prefer the mechanisms or whatnot?
Well, we talked about this earlier. The movie Everything Everywhere All at Once required people to tell their friends to go see it.
Yeah.
And then their friends
got into it.
Then their friends went, "What? That movie looks terrible." And they're like, "No, you have to see it. It's incredible." But I heard that there was rocks with googly eyes in it. Yeah, it's incredible. You'll cry. And they're like, people don't get it. And Conquest Princess, people have that aha moment. There was 3 different reviewers who had to be like cajoled a little bit into trying the game.
Right.
And then they realized, and even in their reviews, they're like, I didn't think this theme was for me, but it really is.
Yeah, it's like comes off as so like boom in your face. You really have to be like, okay, there's a game here too. It's like the theme's an added bonus.
Right. Like there's this weird thing, like if something has an explosive theme or an unusual theme, it must be a terrible game. And that's a weird perception that people have. Right. Also, like this idea that fashion is power is a funny way to say something that we've all seen in geekdom so many times. Like Eowyn doesn't get to defeat the Witch King unless she dresses in drag, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Iron Man is just a fashion accessory, right?
Yeah.
We got to see like in the old Conan movie and both versions of Dune, how what you dress is your survival aspect, right? But just calling it fashion and using the word princess gets people like, those are really the 2 things that give people pause. Yeah.
And pink. Sorry, I've never seen that before. And pink waving.
Yeah, it's absolutely no. That's an emoji title from Discord.
Okay.
I think that's Andrew. Hey, Andrew.
I have a question about, so like I noticed that you have this campaign on GameFound. So there's that big discussion, GameFound versus Kickstarter right now. Yep. What made you decide to go to GameFound over Kickstarter and why?
That has everything to do with Chip Theory awarding me the Industry Champion Award for the year.
Got it. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So they said they were going to do that.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's a big deal. I hope to be worthy of it. I hope our project is worthy of it. They played it too to make sure that they're like, this is a good game. So and so their audience was there. And since they did it there, we were hoping to capture as many of their audience as possible. But
yeah, because I know that's always a big question, right? It's like, when is GameFound going to be the platform to go on? And it's like they still got quite a ways to go. I think they're making the right strides towards that. They're not quite there yet, but like I'm always curious because it's like, for me personally, I don't think I would jump onto GameFound yet. Like, and so I'm always like, okay, what's the reasoning? And for you, it makes sense.
Well, I had a strong reason, and I'm interested in bringing like my kind of laughter and my audience to different places.
Yeah.
And you don't, being a person of color and being gay means that I am often the only person in a gaming space that looks like me. Right? And so, but the thing is, Izzy from Dice Dragon Guild reminded me that if you do that and you have fun and you're there long enough, if you turn around, you realize there's a lot of people who came to join in after you.
Yeah.
And so,
Set the trend.
yeah, like the demographics for GameFound are frighteningly like 20% female, like 80% like male heterosexual gamer. Like it's a hard sell for my project on that platform, but you don't get to go new places if you always stay at home. Does that make sense, Devin?
Yeah, I mean, you have to you're like testing the waters a little bit, and I know
and you pay the price for being the first person there. I've taken a couple of lumps this project because of it.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out one thing that I was curious about that I've never seen before. This idea of a stable pledge. I'd never heard of this before, and GameFound said they have a stable pledge option for your campaign. Do you know what that means? Like,
there's two things that I like that they do a lot. Maybe three things that I like about the platform that a lot. Stable pledge basically says, when I put up this project, I will guarantee a refund to anyone if I go 10% over my shipping cost.
Oh, okay. So it's like a safety net. Almost.
It's safety net.
Okay.
Like, I will refund your stuff if my shipping estimate becomes gross.
Right.
Okay? Which we could see has poisoned a lot of people recently to crowdfunding.
Yeah.
That problem. So that's where that is. They also have something called stretch pay.
That's my favorite thing. I really
because some of these projects are expensive, and you want to participate at the level that you want at like a collector's light, but you can't. You got to eat, and so being able to cost effectively spread out the payments of the thing in a reasonable way. That's also something that they do. Okay, and then sort of how they do add-ons and link backing and how your store seamlessly transitions from one to the other, after that 2-week period, whatever you flip it on, and then how that all flows together is pretty slick too.
Yeah, I do like their pledge manager system. I don't like the credits system. Like, that is very confusing to me. Like, getting credits from Kickstarter and going into the pledge manager.
I
don't understand any of it, and it's backfired on me quite a few times. I accidentally paid twice because I had this many credits. A whole other conversation right there. But I mean, I do think that, it's a tough sell, like you said, for smaller publishers, for more indie designers, because they know the big publishers are going to make them a ton of money, right? And they're still growing. So they're in that startup phase where they need the backing of large projects. And while that's amazing, I mean, that sucks for the little guys.
No, yeah, it's not easy. It's really not easy. They're not particularly well suited for my projects, my audience, or my needs.
Right. And yeah, so that's actually a question I was going to ask later, but I think I can bounce now. Is let's say this GameFound project doesn't fund. Is there?
Why are you saying that, Devin?
I'm saying it.
Oh my gosh!
I have to be realistic. I'm saying it. So if this doesn't fund, I'm assuming we're going to regroup and do it again. Yeah. Because why wouldn't you, right? Like, that's
the reviews for this game are fantastic.
Right. And so would you do GameFound again, or would you switch?
No, I'd go back to Kickstarter.
Okay. Yeah, I like to ask that too, because it's maybe.
Well, but why would you say? You should say it a different way, Devin. If you have to retool, you've gotten Andrew mad. He's getting out his
sorry, Andrew. I'm just a man of the numbers.
A lot of people want this project to happen. A lot of people want this project to happen. We need to make this happen, Devin.
Yes, we're gonna make this happen. I just
seriously, I've gotten bullied for people posting my poster. I feel like if this doesn't fund, evil wins. I had to clear somebody off of some of my content today because they were using a KKK rally as a profile picture. It's gone beyond I am making a great game to
Right.
I need this game to succeed to reaffirm my feelings about humanity.
Jeez.
But don't say that evil stuff, Devin. Like,
Yeah, we're
out,
not going to
out,
expend
devil, out.
out with the evil, in with the good. Kyle says, love how the conversation is geared towards grinding and real issues the little guys face. And we both face that issue. Is we're both hustlers. We both grind really hard to get our stuff out there into the world. And I know, I'll tell you this right now. When I went to Protospiel, the first thing I noticed is you were out there going crazy. I was like, who is
What?
this Seppy person? I want to go talk to them right now. You know, because it's like, if someone's putting that much effort into a game like this, you know, it's got to succeed. It's got to be a great game. And that's why I jumped over there right away. I was like, okay, I'll try this game out, you know, because it's like, I just got to know. I got to know what's going on in the system here.
And what did you feel about it when you played it, Devin?
I was surprised at first because, like, again, the theme was like, whoa. And I was interested in the theme. I don't play a lot of cooperative games. And so for me, I was like really not used to the whole let's work together cooperative thing. And so like, and everyone else around the table was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. And I can't remember what it was, but I loved the ability that I was able to upgrade. I can't remember if it was an upgrade thing or what, but I really liked that. And I love the other player, how much she was just so into it. Like that was a super fan right there that I was playing with. And it really helped me realize, okay, you know, this game's good. You know, because like if it may not be for me, it's going to be for someone else like that, and those are the kind of fans you want, you know. And so that was really cool.
Absolutely. I'm sorry to put you on the spot there, but
no, that's totally fine.
Understanding like co-ops are their own thing. This is for folks who don't know, Conquest Princess is a co-op crisis management game, and it is also a bag builder, right? Like you want to use big board game words about what it is. It plays 1 to 4 players, 50 minutes. It's based on missions. You succeed if you complete your mission. You fail if you run out of power. What that means in Conquest Princess, because fashion is power, that means if you run out of things to wear, you lose the game. The timeline resets and you must start over.
I think that was probably my favorite thing about it was I was like getting stressed because I'm like, okay, we got to win this, you know. It's like that bag building. I love bag building. Anything with like building, I love it. And so I really enjoyed how like I was able to work out that stress as I was getting powerful. And like, you know, the fashion thing was super unique and cool. And I thought that brought a lot to the game.
The bag building mechanism and the losing mechanic in the game are pretty tight.
Yeah.
Nobody is playing. It's a communal bag builder. So you share the bag of destiny, and how that works with blowing up enemies versus refreshing is very. It's very. I don't want to use the word elegant, but it is very fresh and very approachable. It makes a lot of sense when you do it.
It's easy to understand.
Like the actionometer is great, and how the actionometer, like everybody's done this. If they played a Pandemic, they count the number of actions on their hands. Having that and putting that on the gauntlet, and then that being at the core of your transformation is also just a great mechanism. It is a great mechanism. Yeah,
I want to know, like, so as a marketing guy, I love listening about numbers and how we're doing things. And what lessons have you learned so far in like the pre-marketing and like pre-hype? What would you do differently next time? Or is there something you think you can still do to, you know, get the game out there? Because it's a hard world on social media too. So like, what have you learned throughout this?
Damn it, you keep on putting these negative connotations like I'm not going to get there in this next step. We're going to get there, Devin. Say it, Devin. Devin, say we're going to get there.
We're going to get there.
Yes, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I have enlisted a lot of very kind people who have been generous in my direction to let them know that this game is good and that they should support diverse voices in gaming, or if they just like a good co-op game, this game is for them. Like from Floodgate, I forgot to mention Ben and Floodgate. Floodgate, another huge company. Ben helped me with sort of approachability for a more general market. I'll say has probably put about 10 hours of game development time in the last 6.5 years into it. from my friends who help with making sure that it is the instructions are correct, that the page makes sense, to the like getting help, getting media people on board.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, I think I would do again, even with the next project. Making it a collective us effort has taken a lot of the stress and reminded me that people want us to succeed and has made a better game.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, if there's someone that wants to help you, let them help you. Like, you don't want to do it all by yourself because you're going to burn out super fast. And like, the community's here for a reason, you know? And so we all work together. We're all trying to succeed. And I mean, there's this big, like, overarching competition, but really it's not.
No,
You know
it's
what I mean?
not.
Like, everyone's so happy to be in this industry because we're so tiny. You know, we're all just like here for each other, and I love that.
I think that perception of competition is something that people who are new to game design feel, but it's not.
Mhm.
That's once you get here and you realize how we all want everybody to succeed, and that's my experience.
Right.
Then yeah, and you help everybody you can, because those people will help you.
Yeah.
If you want to get help, you should offer help. Finding out like your trusted voices for the kinds of things that you want to do, that is critically important. And
Yeah, it's like
trusted voice doesn't mean people you do not trust because of whatever reasons, but you understand they see your goal and what you want to do, and their voice matches more clearly with what you're trying to accomplish.
right. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I started. Is like I was just helping everyone I could.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is how I'm starting. I was a no one. You know, I was like, I just started in game design like 3.5 years ago, and I just wanted to help, and that's what I enjoy. Even today, I enjoy just helping people. And I don't do as much playtesting as I should be. I'm going to change that here soon. But
That's good.
and so it's something that I really think like you said, first time game designers are like, oh, I don't want to post this out. I don't want to do anything because it's going to get stolen or my game's going to, you know, blah, blah, blah. All these same conversations we see all the time in the board game design lab and stuff like that. And like I'm sure we can say the same thing. It's like, it's not going to happen.
And if it does, people will know about it because there's a record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like,
I think that's the biggest thing is like, for me, when people say that, I'm like, just start doing it yourself then. Make a group, start posting stuff. Like, people are going to start to see, oh, this is your product, you know, and then it has a long lasting.
Devin, after that's funny thing you think after 3.5 years you're no one. Like after 10 years, I'm still no one.
We're not no one. Okay?
Well, my goal isn't to be someone. Like I don't want to be a real boy. I'm fine being wood, fighting fascists in Italy. I'm fine with that. I will do the things that are required of me, Guillermo del Toro. But what I really want to do is connect people with games. And like the most important moments I've had with owning a company and publishing games are people relating their stories about how my game helped them at a time connect to somebody that they really needed to. And so
deeper connections.
I'm not a person who's very good at social interactions without structure. And there are a lot of instances where people's lives go out of control and they lose the ability to relate to another person, even if that person is critical. Or they don't know how to start a conversation, blah, blah, blah. But a game does that.
Right.
It just starts you spending time together and it creates these little moments and it builds an opportunity for intimacy.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about it. It's like I jumped into this community because I was like, oh, maybe I jump into the video game stuff. I've never been a huge video gamer, but then right away I was like, this is not for me. Everyone was so rude and mean. I'm just like, okay, I'm a happy person. I don't want to be here. And then I found, the board game design lab and I joined that and it was like off from there. It's like everyone was amazing.
And then you went on their media and they told you that your project wasn't going to fund and then you started crying.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I got more than 2 weeks left, Devin, and
You-
we funded more than 50% in the
Yeah,
first
you're good.
72 hours.
And that's great.
It's great, but there's a lot of work. You are right to point out that we have a lot of work ahead, and we want people's help. One of the problems with our little indie project is that it doesn't meet the expectations of people who are looking to crowdfund because they want that deep early discount. Like crowdfunding is great, and people are allowed to have this. Their community reflect their desires, and crowdfunding is its own community, right?
Yeah.
And so, but not every project fits every mold. Like Princess is in the olden times, Devin, when we got things done with fleet of horse and strength of steel. Like when you backed a project not because you were going to get more stuff for a deep discount, but because you believed that it's better. Everything is better if it exists, and you really wanted to have a copy of it in your collection.
Yeah, and I looked at the campaign pledge page a little bit. So you're doing like deluxes. I know you're doing retailers. Can you explain a little bit about that? I can jump over here.
Absolutely. So there's the question of why should I back now? Okay. Obviously, number one, it doesn't exist unless we get a fan base large enough to start this, not only from a cash flow perspective, but as a retailer now, a crowdfund really is about having enough people playing that game on launch, retail wise, to create a demand. Because gamers create demand for gaming, and they do that by playing these games with their friends. Okay. The number one reason why you like on a bling level is there are a lot of things. Stop right here at that time, agent.
Yep.
There are things that we offer during crowdfunds that we do not offer during retail, and that become hard to get. And those for this project are the Ultimate Bag of Destiny and the stands of Utmost Elegance.
Those are acrylic standees then?
Yeah, they're acrylic standees for all the agents and the bad guys in the game. So it's I think it's like 20 plus whatever. If you click on that add-on, I'll tell you how many acrylic standees are in there. Do it, Game Found. Do what you're supposed to do. Scroll down. Right there. Click on the standees of Utmost Elegance.
Right there. Bingo.
There you go. Yeah, so it is almost 30. It's 29 acrylic standees.
That's quite. I love acrylic standees.
I do love acrylic standees, and they're great. And then the number one play upgrade, the clickety clack of the acrylic tokens for the bag, is really really good. Like if you just got the base game and the acrylic bag tokens, that would still be you'd still be hooking yourself up right. But those acrylic bag tokens, obviously, we are not going to offer that to retail because the price point for the game which is too expensive.
Yeah.
Then Titan has two things. It has the huge game mat. Right now, the game. One of the things that people are going, hey, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of stuff here for $75. And I had to realize that people don't see how big the game actually is. They think it's small, or they imagine it fitting on a small table. No, it completely fills a 3x5 table.
Yeah, I remember it was pretty big when we played.
Yeah, it fills up a whole con table. Yeah. It fills up a whole con table. And the Titan has a game mat that will fit the game, and it has a reverse side for. It should have a reverse side. That one doesn't display it. For the solo version of the game. And so and it has the light kit, so that if you like acrylic standees, would you want your acrylic standee to light up when you transform? When you have your magical girl transformation. And those are called the lights of opulent extravagance. They're ultimately completely unnecessary to the game or game experience. These are things that people want because they think that this should exist. And if you're going to go all in on this theme, Why not go all in on this?
That
thing?
looks awesome. I want those for my normal playing PC.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, right? But they're not cheap, and they're absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Now, the ultimate level, which I'm super touched, those sold out in the first 3 days, which was the every pet, everywhere, all at once. So five exactly, David. So 5 fans of the title have immortalized their pets into the game.
Yeah.
If this funds. So scroll up for me real quick. And there's an update, and you can see some of the pets that people want to immortalize, which is amazing. It makes me feel like this is the best idea that I've had in a long time.
There was an
under updates, yeah, updates, and then one update down.
Right here.
There we go. And so these are some of the pets that people. One of them is that is Flambeau, and Flambeau is taken care of at a local zoo. So this person pays for for the zoo to raise this pet. So he's like the financial. So it is his whatever endowment flamingo, right? And then the other one is Neil.
Neil.
It's Neil. Neil is adorable and apparently indestructible, and now immortal. Will be immortal in the game.
I love that.
People should love Neil. Neil is just great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so these are things.
Go back here. Awesome. Yeah. It sounds like there's a ton of fun in this game, and just like looking at the pledge levels, I'm just like, I love all the things you're adding. It's like I love playmats. That light may seem like unnecessary because it probably is, but it's so cool. It's like you really want to play it.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. So we're in the closing stages of our conversation here, and I from you as a designer of this game, can you give us some just like advice to indie publishers and like newer game designers going to Kickstarter or crowdfunding or GameFound, anything like that? What's like your 5 best pieces of advice?
Oh, like 5. Okay.
3 to 5, whatever you want.
Number 1, find your peers and make connections with them. Okay. Go to communities where people are making games and find those other people. Those connections will lift you up, especially when those people find success. Their success is your success. Number 2, get on TikTok or equivalent, whatever you want to do. Find a way to regularly be working on your hooks. Your hooks are the way to make your games more approachable to people to try it. Okay. And they will also help you start building your community. 3 is you're never too early starting building your community. You just in and around your title, like get a site, get a Facebook page, get all this kind of stuff. Find meaningful reasons to communicate to people who can support you either emotionally or inspirationally, or who just want you to succeed. And make sure that you are giving them value back in the form of laughter, in the form of inspiration, in the form of game design or burritos. I used to just bribe my playtesters burritos. Like, here, anybody want a free burrito? Get to see mean stuff to me, because that's what playtesting is on Friday night. Come on, get a burrito and make me cry. So that also 100% essential. 4th, the creative endeavor really rewards consistency. So get yourself on a consistent schedule. Period. Like, I am going to have a new something and this external validation that will get me like a play test, whatever, every 2 weeks. Make that a thing, because even 10 minutes a day, you will be surprised how much you get better applying 10 minutes a day to this thing. Yeah. And that includes having a space for that. You're like, this is all I'm doing with this 10 minutes. And last, and probably more important than all the others is get yourself a battle buddy.
Battle buddy. I like that.
Somebody who's in the pits with you, just like working out, just like these kinds of things that are solely about your internal motivation. Having somebody else that keeps you honest and that you can keep honest will get this to happen. Is 60% more likely for it to get to a point that people can celebrate it.
Yeah, accountability is key. And when you have someone that you can be accountable for, it just helps both of you just succeed and get, boost your confidence up more too.
And life has a million things. If you have a significant other, you have children, you have a job, they're always going to try to push their way into something.
Right.
And having another person that you can't let down is at least some level of shield to say you can't do that. I promise this person. You're like, oh, okay. But everything is.
Yeah. Awesome.
Those would be my 5.
Awesome. Well, now's the time. Let's plug all the things. I have a QR code directly to the campaign page. So if you guys are interested in Conquest Princess, let's make this happen.
Yeah!
What do you got? Give us some. Where else can people find it, follow it, all that thing?
I am lucky enough to be fighting a box everywhere. Like back at the start of right, exactly, right at the beginning of my company. We got the URL from a Brazilian jiu-jitsu company.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then we took it all the places. So they're probably still mad about that, but like, I'm fighting a box everywhere.
That's
so
awesome.
That is the thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I hope you guys had a lovely chat with us here. And yeah, if you want to know more about Conquest Princess, go ahead and hit the QR code up there, and then up down there, and all the things. So until next time, thank you so much, and let's keep having fun and playing some games.